Hey everyone, welcome back to Ecommerce Marketing School. I'm your host, Ben Jabawi. It's January 2023, and we have an incredible year ahead on the podcast. So I'm excited to be here with someone very special. Tony, you want to say hi?
Hey everyone, Tony here.
Awesome. So you've heard Tony's voice before. He's done, I don't know, probably 30, 40 episodes on the show. And from my perspective, Tony has leveled up educational content at Privy in a way that I always dreamt of. I remember when we were interviewing Tony, it was like, hey, we could be this awesome thing when it comes to customer education with a great studio and great video and great audio. And unfortunately, I never really figured it out in my home studio. But Tony totally nailed it. He's incredible. He's got his own podcast on the side. He's done wonderful things with Privy Masterclass. If you haven't, make sure you check that out. And I'm excited today to talk about a transition on E-commerce Marketing School. As of this episode, I will no longer be the host of the show, and Tony is stepping in as the incredible host, with some help from marketing, of course, but as the incredible host for 2023.
Can't fill in these shoes by myself, that's for sure. But thanks, Ben.
So congrats. I'm so excited for you, man. This is going to be fun.
No, thank you. This whole past year, well, I guess over a year ago, I joined the team I love making educational content, first of all. It's so fun because it actually helps people. It's not like, and we talk about this on some of the episodes, people just make content for content's sake. And, as marketing professionals, we tell you have to make a certain amount of content and it has to be consistent. But it bothers me so much that people just put out crap content, right? So I was like, well, I kind of fell in love with the fact that educational content was actually helping people. So I leaned into that. And then I got a chance to do it on the podcast, which was really, really fun. It became kind of like my favorite thing to do. So
it's awesome.
It's a natural kind of thing to come on this.
It shows, yeah. And I'm excited. I think I'm super proud of what we did on the show. I think Lauren, who's behind the scenes, who's amazing, as everyone knows, and we kind of I would say bootstrapped this thing.
Yeah.
And I want to thank everyone who's listening for listening to me. My voice, it's weird. I hate the sound of my voice, but 400 episodes later.
500.
500.
Jeez,
That's
come on,
crazy.
Ben.
That's crazy. Thank you, whether it's in the car, in the bathroom, at the kitchen table, whatever it is. I appreciate you listening and the support in the DMs. And it doesn't end here. I've seen the plan that the team put in place behind Tony here. It's going to be an incredible 2023. And I'm excited to continue listening. I'll probably pop on from time to time, Tony. Don't be shy.
Please do. That'd be awesome.
But, the reasoning for this is part of my transition out of CEO into chairman of Privy. Just going to take a breather, take some time to chill out with the family and think about some new stuff and doing some writing. So appreciate you stepping in, Tony.
You got it. And I mean, I'm a avid listener, but I listen while I do dishes because it's probably my only uninterrupted time where I'm being the most useful.
Nice.
But you're right. We do have a lot in store for this year, but it mostly builds on what you did, right? So I've been listening, obviously, since I've worked at Privy and things like that. And I've actually shared the podcast with a lot of my friends that own small businesses. Like one of them does, clothing, and she prints it at home and embroiders at home, and she does Shopify. And then I met up with her one day or I ran into her and she said, yeah, I'm just kind of struggling. And I'm like, you know what you should do? You should listen to this podcast. And she texted me 2 weeks later, you jerk, you're on that podcast. I'm like, yeah, but isn't it great? She's like, yes, it is. It is totally great. But she's doing great now. I mean, that's the thing is it was so good, right? This year, you nailed that. A ton of content without just doing it for content's sake. Every single episode, there was a purpose. There was actual real value, like we try to get people to do. Yeah. And so as I've been listening to all of them, I just kind of thought, what are the most valuable episodes Ben has done? What's the best kind of format that he has done that there's not a lot of fluff when you record podcasts, but there are certain ones that stand out where it's like, man, in 6 minutes, he just told me how to set up my new flow for
Yeah.
XYZ.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do a lot of that. We're going to keep it quick if we can. We're
Nice.
going to bring on a lot of store owners that just knocked it out of the park with something in their store. We have one next week that's going to come on that she grew her list to 15,000 contacts in under 6 months. And
Wow.
she's going to tell us exactly how she did that step by step. And it's just a bunch of stuff just to make your life easier as a store owner, and take out the experimentation of it if you don't have to. So
I love
I'm
that.
really, really excited.
Yeah, me too. So what's the format? It'll be short episodes with some interviews. How many times a week? What are you moving to?
Yeah, so we're going to do 3 times a week because I gonna love doing this, but all of us on the marketing team are still doing our job. Ben, I don't know how you did this every day,
I don't know
but we're
either.
gonna do 3 times a week. And part of that is so that we don't just produce content that we don't care about. I think three
Yeah.
times a week allows us to really create 3 really good episodes that we really, really care about. So we're gonna do that. Some of them are going to be me hopping on for 5 minutes to just share really insightful tips or advice or strategies that we've learned the past week, or something that's trending. Like, last year we did a post specific to Valentine's Day and when live selling was heating up, and should you accept Bitcoin in your store? And it turns out it wasn't the time, and we told you it probably wasn't the time, right? So all these things like this. And then the interviews, I think, will go a little longer because these store owners have a lot to tell. So
Yeah.
some of them will be 10 minutes, some will be 30, but we'll see.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, you got to go give Tony a follow. Tony, what's your socials and all that stuff?
Yeah. So if you want to kind of see us in the wild, we're finally on Instagram. Ben, we made an Instagram for this
I love
podcast.
it. I love
So
it.
if you guys are listening audio, the podcast, every single episode of this podcast will be on YouTube and on Instagram. So
Wow.
we're going to break up some of the longer episodes into reels, and we're going to show the whole episode on YouTube as like long form and things like that. So hit us up there. So on YouTube, we're at Privy. On Instagram, we're at Ecom Marketing School.
Nice.
And so those are going to be the big ones. I am having a lot of fun right now, kind of shit posting on Twitter with Elon's takeover and lack of takeover. So if you want to be part of that, but also learn something about marketing, I'm on Twitter at Tony from the pod.
Oh, really? I love that. Did you
Yeah.
change your handle?
No, I'm just
Oh,
Tony from the pod.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Yeah. I mean, I've been seeing some of the reels and stuff, like, just the quality of what you're putting out is awesome. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I will say, we're over 800,000 downloads on this podcast today.
Yeah.
So, Tony, my expectation is that in 30 days, when we catch up again, we're over 1 million.
All right. I'll take that. I'll take that challenge. I'll take 30 days. Hold on. Let me just see what
That's
I can
about
get to.
200,000 downloads.
That's only
in January. What do you think?
It's about 12,000 a day. We'll see.
Yeah. No, but
Let's see where
anyways,
we're at.
yeah,
Honestly, Ben, a stretch goal for me, I think it would be really, really badass if we could do 2 million downloads by the end of the year. I think with everything that we want to do, I'm going to really, really push for that, because there's so many more people that need to hear what, these store owners have to teach and stuff like that.
I agree. And the best part of this podcast is like the commitment is to education, right? And like we've been doing this show for 3 years. Yeah, some of the concepts are similar, right? Like everyone should strive to grow their list to 15,000 like that guest next week. But like there's also a ton of new stuff that's happening and relevant now that didn't even exist for e-commerce a year ago, right? So
Right.
it's like this endless like subject matter that we can help you digest. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to tell you about too that I think might be really valuable for anybody listening here is, I told you it was fun. We started an Instagram to, for this podcast. We started from 0 followers on January 1st. We asked all the employees to stay away from the account so it wouldn't ruin like the algorithm or anything like that. What we're trying to do is create content and train the Instagram algorithm to find the exact right people to send it to. And we're doing this, 1, for the podcast, but 2, as an experiment, so that in 6 months we can teach all of you, here's exactly what we did to grow our Instagram in the e-commerce space to 60,000 followers in 6 months or something like that. So if you want to follow along, kind of see what we're doing as we're experimenting, hit us on Instagram. If not, I'll just tell you everything I do on the pod anyway. So it's okay.
I love that. That's great content right there, Tony. Nice. Well, thank you, everyone. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart. This podcast has taught me a lot about myself and the things that I love to do, and writing and guest prep and, telling your stories was one of the highlights for me of my Privy journey. So thank you all. And Tony, thank you.
You got it. And I want to say you've paved the way incredibly for me. And so I really appreciate that. You've been an incredible CEO, of course. It wasn't a hard decision to come work for Privy, that's for sure. And I am enjoying some of the writing that I'm seeing you do. So for people that do want to keep following up with you, Ben, where can they find you moving forward? If not,
great plug. And I didn't even ask him to do it. So I'm just writing about my journey starting and scaling a Shopify app over at zerotoexit.co. Some of it's entertainment, some of it's just, things I learned along the way, and I can't help myself. If I can help someone with my experience, then, it's been a successful day. So join me over there, and we can continue having fun.
Did you say zerotoexit.com? Is that what it is?
Zerotoexit.co, actually.
.co.
I couldn't get the .com, so
yeah, we'll take what we can
I'll take what I can get, exactly.
All right, well, Ben, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast as a guest for the first time ever. I hope to see you again here soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony. Good luck this year, man.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for listening. Once again, if you want to follow up with us, see us in the wild, we're at Ecom Marketing School on Instagram, and you can find me at Tony from the Pod on Twitter. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.